Good morning, student. Today I am here with new chapter of history, the rise of nationalism in Europe. In this chapter, we are going to study about the nationalism in Europe. Basically, chapter start with a picture. It is prepared and painted by Frederick Chaudieu in 1848. He was a French artist. In year 1848, Frederick Chaudieu, a French artist, prepared a series of footprints visualizing his dream of a world made of democratic social republic. In fact, during this period, means during the medieval period, all countries of world were being ruled by monarchy system. Monarchy system was very common form of government during the medieval period. In a monarchy system, as you know, the ruler becomes despotic, one man rule, and king projecting themselves as carnation of God. So people were not satisfied with monarchy system. Now they were struggling for democracy. What in this picture Frederick Chaudieu is showing, in fact, a large number of people are passing from Statue of Liberty. As you know, Statue of Liberty, it is a historical monument in America. So Frederick Chaudieu is showing the people are marching from Statue of Liberty, and he personified liberty as a female figure. How he personified liberty as a female figure? You can recognize the torch of enlightenment she bears in one hand and the charter of the right of man in the other. In one hand of that figure, there is a torch of enlightenment. This torch of enlightenment is symbol of struggle for democracy, and in another hand, the charter of the rights of man in the other. So now, during the medieval age, people of Europe struggling for their democratic rights. Because during this period, in maximum part of Europe, there was monarchy system, and under this system, power were centralized in one hand, and now people like to decentralize the power. That is why, for decentralization of power, people were struggling for democratic rights. So this painting made by Frederick Chaudieu, a French artist, became very famous in that time because it gave a signal of democracy and freedom. Basically, during this chapter, we are going to study how the nationalism film came in Europe. In fact, the nationalism starts in Europe from French Revolution, my dear student. As in class 9th, you study about the French Revolution in detail. That was the first chapter. So French Revolution broke out in 1789, as you know well. During that time, Louis XVI was ruler of France. He was a despotic ruler. So finally, the people of France revolted against him, and Louis XVI displaced, and a new system followed there. So basically, the Russian Revolution was based liberty, equality, and fraternity. This was the slogan of French Revolution. The French Revolution, the basic slogan of French Revolution was liberty, equality, and fraternity. In fact, the people of France were not happy with the ruler of France, Louis XVI, he was a despotic ruler and he did not work for the upliftment of the people. So the people of France were not satisfied with his ruling style. Basically, he belonged to Bourbon dynasty. He came in power in 1772. The French Revolution, in fact, the intellectual people played a very important role here. Montesquieu, Jean Jacques Rousseau, they motivated the people against the despotic ruler. The social condition of France was discriminative, as you know well, first states, second state, and third states. The French society was divided into three parts. First state, second state, they were exempted from the tax. Only third state was paying tax. There was totally social discrimination. So against this social discrimination, finally people of France revolted against their ruler, and it was a great success of people of France because first time in world history people struggle for their right. That is why the French Revolution is important. What slogan? What was the main outcome of this revolution? That was first time people revolted against their ruler for their rights. So French Revolution became a source of inspiration for the European country because a large number of European countries were being governed by monarchy system, and now they also started to struggle against this monarchy system. So after the revolution, as already it is according to syllabus, I am not going to deep because in detail you studied in class 9. So after defeating to Louis XVI, the France ruled by directory rule. So after revolution, France appeared as a new nation. For example, there was National Assembly, new hymns were composed, oaths taken, and martyrs commemorated, all in the name of the nation. A centralized administration system was put in place and it formulated uniform law for all citizens within its territory. Internal custom duties and dues were abolished and a uniform system of weighing and measures was adopted. Regional dialects were discouraged and French as it was spoken and written in Paris became a common language of the nation. So after the revolution, France became a model state in Europe because the French introduced administrative system. They decided their flag, they decided their national anthem, their national song, and national language. So as a nation, France emerged in Europe because of National Assembly was there, national song was there, national anthem was there, national flag was there. So it brings a feeling of collectiveness. That is why France became an ideal state in Europe. Okay, so when the news of the events in France reached in different parts of Europe, students and other members of educated middle class began shutting to Jacobin clubs. So now, when the message reached in Europe, a large number of European countries they established the Jacobin clubs. Their activities and campaigns prepared the way for the French armies which moved into Holland, Belgium, Switzerland, and much of Italy. With the outbreak of the Revolutionary Wars, the French army began to carry the idea of nationalism abroad. Meanwhile, the French army went in different parts of Europe and it carried a message of nationalism in abroad. So finally, Napoleon Bonaparte became ruler of France. So when in 1804 Napoleon became ruler of France, he introduced a civil code. It is known as Napoleonic Code. In 1804, Napoleon Bonaparte introduced an administrative system that is called the Civil Code of 1804. By what name it is known? The Civil Code of 1804. This is a very important question, my dear. What was the Civil Code of 1804? And this code is also known as Napoleonic Code. According to this code, Napoleon established equality before the law and secured the right to property. According to this Napoleonic Code, Napoleon established equality. Now there was no first state, no second state, no third state, as you studied in class 9. आपने class 9 में पढ़ा रखा उसको डिटेल में. So now he formed equality before the law. Everybody was equal before the law. And Napoleon simplified administrative division. Secondly, he introduced a administrative system which is simplified administrative division, and he abolished the feudal system. There was a political system that was called feudal system. He abolished it, and he freed peasants from serfdom and manorial dues. The peasants, they were under the burden of taxation. He exempted serfdom and manorial dues. In the town, two guilds restrictions were removed. There was no permission of trade union. Now he abolished it. He gave right to people to form trade unions. Transport and communication system were improved, and he improved the transport and communication system of France. Peasants, artisans, workers, and new businessmen enjoyed newfound freedom. So all sections of the society enjoyed these rights. Businessmen and small-scale producers of goods in particular began to realize the uniform laws, standard weight and measures. And thereafter, he followed a uniform policy of weighing and measurement. Otherwise, before revolution, in different federal system, in different region, there was different weighing and measuring system. So he introduced one weighing and measuring system. So in this way, after the 1804 Napoleonic Code, France emerged as ideal state in Europe. So Napoleonic Code of 1804, it is very important. According to this code, again this is very important information, my dear, be attentive. First, Napoleon did away with all privilege based on birth, established equality before the law, and secured the right to property. Before the revolution, the society was divided into three parts. But now, he established equality before the law and secured the right to property. Second, the code was exported to the regions under French control. Napoleon simplified administrative division. What he did? He simplified administrative division and abolished the feudal system and freed peasants from serfdom and manorial dues. He freed peasants from serfdom and manorial dues. In the town too, guild restrictions were removed. He gave permission to the people, businessmen to form the trade union. He improved transport and communication system, and this code, Napoleonic Code, accepted with joy by the people of France. All sections of the society, among them were artisans, workers, and new businessmen, enjoyed a newfound freedom. So this was a freedom in France. So after this Napoleonic Code, the European countries, they also wanted to establish such system in their country. So this type of feeling came among the European countries. So this is called the nationalism in Europe. Again, I am going back. The French Revolution is a very important revolution in world history because it gave a new idea to the world. First time people of a country revolted against their rule for their right. The slogan of this French Revolution was liberty, equality, and fraternity. So finally, people of France defeated Louis XVI and followed a new system in France, and France emerged as a model state in Europe because of its special identity. After revolution, they made their constitution, they made their national flag, national language, they have national international boundaries, national anthem, national song. So a feeling of collectiveness, a feeling of oneness came among them. And this system was appreciated by Europe, and every country of Europe they liked this system. Otherwise, what happened in Europe during that period, the boundaries of the countries were not specified. For example, their national boundaries were not clear. There was no national language, no flag, no national anthem. A lot of differences were there. No proper weighing and measuring system. So the European country also wanted to follow a such system like the France, and this came to be known as nationalism in Europe. Actually, the present Europe was very different that time. Their boundaries were not clear. Even the Germany, for example, Germany, before unification of Germany, Germany was divided into 39 states. It is called German Confederations. Even the Italy, the present Italy, that time it was divided into seven states. So this is called unification of Germany and unification of Italy. In fact, these countries also wanted to decide their national boundaries, to form a constitution, to form a administrative system, to follow a weighing and measuring system. So this came to be known as nationalism. In fact, this chapter is some difficult, my dear, but try to understand. As already I discussed a lot in online class, those who are attending good, but those who are not attending, there may be some problem. But here it is very clear. In class 9th you studied about the French Revolution first chapter in detail. So here only the French Revolution is just the introductory part here. Again I am repeating here the important point to notice: Napoleonic Code of 1804. This was very important code because according this code, Napoleon gave a new system to the world because of its rule and regulations. So this made nationalism in Europe. That after the nationalism came in Europe means the European country also wanted to form an independent nations. The European countries wanted to make independent nations. Today, Germany, Italy, and Switzerland were divided into kingdom, ducks, and cantons whose rulers had their autonomous territories. तो आज की जो जर्मनी है, इटली है, स्विट्जरलैंड है, तब they were divided into many parts. Eastern and Central Europe were under autocratic monarchies within the territories of which lived diverse people. Eastern and Central Europe was under autocratic monarchies. They were sharing a collective identity और एक common culture. They did not share. उनकी कोई अपनी collective identity नहीं थी, कोई common culture नहीं था, कोई common civilization नहीं थी. They were divided into many parts. Even they speak different language and belong to different ethnic groups. The Habsburg Empire that ruled over Austria-Hungary, for example, was patchwork of many different regions and people to include the Alpine region. Okay. So the countries of Europe, they were not having their international boundary, no national flag, no national anthem. They were divided into many parts. Now they were thinking to make a nation, right? Where they will have a boundary, they will have their constitution, they will have their civilization, culture. So this type of feeling among the European countries came to be known as the nationalism in Europe. Again, I am telling you, what was in Europe, the present map of Europe was very different. जो मैप आज हमारे पास यूरोप का है वो उस समय से बहुत डिफरेंट था. Because that time the countries' boundaries were not clear. They were divided into many parts. They have no unity. There was no any collective feeling, no any national language, no any national anthem, no any national song. That is why now they wanted to follow a nation. एक राष्ट्र बनाने की उनकी कल्पना आई, like the France. The aristocracy and the middle class. So meanwhile, what happened? After the industrial revolution, a new section came that is called aristocracy. Industrial evolution, as already we discussed, the period after 1730 when the industry came, the first cotton industry came in existence in Britain, that period is known as industrial revolution. So from 1730 it starts the industrial revolution. Industrial revolution means the manufacturing of goods in mass level. Factory industries का existence माना. So after this what happened, the aristocracy and middle class एक नया section समाज में आया. Aristocracy means the people those who were corporates, means those who were millionaire. They came to be known as aristocrat. And the people those who are working in the industry and earning better and living in a better way, they came to be known as the middle class. So during this period, the industrialization also started in Europe. Industrialization basically came from Britain. The first industry came into existence in Britain. So that after a number of industry came into existence in different part of Europe. सो आफ्टर द इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन कैपिटलिज्म केम, लोगों के पास पैसा आया और जिन लोगों के पास पैसा था दे केम टू बी नोन एज एरिस्टोक्रेट, उनको एरिस्टोक्रेट कहा गया. और एक न्यू सेक्शन केम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस, द पीपल दोज आर वर्किंग इन इंडस्ट्री दे वर अर्निंग बेटर, उनकी अर्निंग बढ़ी एंड दे केम टू बी नोन एज द मिडिल क्लास. So when this new middle class came into existence, they came with new ideology. Now they did not like to despotic ruler. Now they did not like to monarchy. Now they wanted to change. The industrialists, the aristocrat. Even in many part of Europe, the aristocrats were also ruling. In many countries of Europe, aristocrat means the industrialists they were ruling. It came to be known as aristocracy. So these people now raising their voice against despotic ruler, against monarchy. So here the liberals and conservative, these are two ideologies. Conservative means the people those who believe in traditions, those are called conservative. Who are conservative? Those who believe in tradition, they do not like to introduce science and technology. They are known as the conservative. And liberal means in Hindi it is called उदारवादी. The people those who compromise with the conditions, जो देश काल परिस्थिति के अनुसार समझौता करते हैं. So there were different ideological people in Europe and different countries. Some were conservative. Conservative means those who believe in traditions, जो परंपराओं पर विश्वास करते हैं. They do not like to change. They do not like to believe in science and technology. They are called conservative, रूढ़िवादी. And another ideologist, they were known as liberal. Liberal means उदारवादी. Those who make compromise with conditions, जो देश काल परिस्थिति के अनुसार समझौता करते थे. So what conservatism means a political philosophy that stresses the importance of traditions, established institution and custom and preferred gradual development to quick change. They are called conservative, those who believe in traditions. And liberals are those who compromise with the conditions, जो conditions के साथ compromise कर लेते हैं. So the term liberalism derives from the Latin root liber meaning free. For the new middle class, liberalism stood for freedom for the individual and equality of all before the law. So these were two ideologies came in Europe. One is called liberal and another called conservative. So basically all these ideological people wanted to bring change in the system. A system में change लाना चाह रहे थे, तो it was not an overnight game, dear. Because to bring a change in system it take many centuries. तो जिस फिलोसॉफी की ये बात कर रहे थे यूरोप के थिंकर, it took long time to come to change. And their demand was suffrage. Suffrage means right to vote. All people were not permitted to suffrage, means everybody was not permitted to cast the vote in Europe. Even in France, the first revolution broke out in France. You studied last year. The women of France got the right to cast a vote in 1946, while India became independent in 1947, and we got right to cast a vote in 1947. France, a developed European country, the women of France got right to cast a vote in 1946. So these were some demand of these liberals and conservatives. So my dear student, in the first part, just you try to understand Frederick Choraux painting, Napoleonic Court. Again, it is very important. 1804 on Napoleonic Court. And thank you.